@test annotation, @before test, @after test, @before suit, and @after suit. There are a few more annotations we learn. First, we continue the process. Then I'll introduce you the miscellaneous topics related to TestNG. First, I'll explain in a way how generally we create in a real-time project. For interview's sake, I'll introduce some miscellaneous topics about the TestNG. 5 annotations we learned as of now. @test annotation. You answer me, what is @test annotation? If I go with Java alone, if there is a method, some code available in the method to perform a task, we have to make a call to the method from the main, then only the code will run. If I go with the TestNG, if any method is marked with @test annotation, TestNG makes an implicit call to the method, meaning TestNG will run the code of the method. When the code executed successfully, we get the results pass, otherwise fail. And do remember, only @test annotation methods, TestNG produce the results pass or fail. Because @test, this annotation designed to test something in your project. The code you have created to validate something in your project only should be marked using @test annotation. Supposing I want to test login functionality, launch the application, open the browser, launch the application, enter username, password, and click submit button, check login working or not. Only this code, step 3, enter username, enter password, click submit, check login working or not. Here we are checking something in the project. Only this method need to be configured using @test annotation. Similarly, I am building some code to validate employee registration functionality in the same Orange HRM. Step 1, open the browser, enter valid URL and click go. We should not mark this code using @test. Login as admin. In this scenario, second test case, employee registration test case, login as admin we should not mark using @test annotation. Only the code you build to validate employee registration. Enter first name, last name, click submit button, check employee registered successfully or not. Here, this is the code made to validate employee registration working or not. Only this method need to be configured using @test annotation. Remaining opening a browser, lastly closing a browser are preconditions and post conditions. Before test, after test, before suit and after suit are used to configure the preconditions and post conditions. Only the methods created to test something in our project should be marked using @test annotation. Only these methods, only test methods will produce the results pass or fail. Only the methods configured using @test annotation will produce the results test pass or test fail. Precondition methods, before test, after test, before suit, after test, will not give you any results. In fact, in the HTML report, that information also will not be visible. Only test methods related information will be visible on the HTML report generated by the TestNG. And yesterday, lastly, I have created a suit. Once multiple test cases created for one project, if I don't have a suit concept, let's say there are about 100 test cases created. Today we received the modified version. I want to run all 100 test cases on the modified build. Let's say we don't have a concept of the suit. What we have to do? We have to invoke the test case 1, click run button. We have to wait until the test case 1 execution completed, then invoke second test case, click run button. Again, we need to wait until the second test case is run, then we have to invoke the third one and click run button. Like this, one by one we have to run. Your presence is needed. Instead, all 100 test cases I group into one suit. Whenever a modified version given, I want to run all 100 test cases. When I run the suit, all test cases present in the suit will run one after another. Your presence also not needed. Once all 100 test cases are executed by the suit, testng.xml file, finally it produces the test output. These many test cases are executed, 100. These many test cases are passed, 10. These many test cases are failed. These many test cases are passed, say 90. These many test cases are failed, for example, 10. So let me repeat how to build the suit. Yesterday I built the suit, as it is very, very important topic. Let me create the suit one more time. So what are the various tags we use in the suit? Any HTML code or XML code, markup languages, created using tag names. In the HTML pages, HTML, end HTML, head, end of the head, body, end of the body, input, end of the input, anchor, end of the anchor. The same way, in XML file also we have to create the code using some XML tags. All XML tags are case sensitive, that is lowercase, all in lowercase. Tag names must be enclosed in the angular bracket. Open angular bracket and closing angular bracket. That is less than symbol and greater than symbol. Simple words. Actually, technically, they are denoted as angular brackets. The first one is suit. A suit will have multiple test cases. Test, end of the test. For the suit, we can assign a name. For the test also, we can give a name. How we are implementing test cases in the Selenium and Java combination here? By creating some Java classes. Inside the test classes, you have to give the class path. Let me create it again. I'm deleting the file. Let me create the suit file once again. And before I proceed with this, send mail test case. The receive mail test case. We have created two test cases here. If I don't have testng.xml called suit, one by one we have to run the test cases. I'm running. Send mail test I'm running. This is the console output. These are testng generated output. Look at this one. The HTML reports generated automatically by the testng. These reports will be permanently saved in the project folder. Let's see where they will be saved. You observe here, we got a folder here called test-output. Inside your project. It is a workspace, Selenium 8 AM. This is a project folder I created. Automatically, we are getting a folder called test output. All HTML pages. All HTML documents are reports. Check when this file was created. Check the date and time when it was created. When is 24th? 2 days back. Just now this file was created. testng will automatically generate the reports. Loading. You no need to write a single line of extra code to generate this kind of reports. index.html one test report, emailable report, another format of the test report. The number of test cases executed and pass, 1. The number of test cases skip, 0. The number of test cases fail, 0. The time took for execution, 22 milliseconds. Finally, it is pass. Pass shown automatically in green color. Whenever you run a single test case, TestNG assumes default create a suite with the only one test case. The name assigned by the TestNG default suite, the name assigned by the TestNG default test, and it will show the remaining details. Number of test cases pass, 1. Number of test cases failed, 0. The number of test cases skipped from the execution, 0. The date and time when it was executed, the time took for execution, and the results. See, yesterday I lastly executed this side by 9:38 yesterday. Lastly, I run the suite. Whenever you run the suite, inside the test output folder, a folder will be created with the suite name. The suite results will be displayed independently here. Send mail results. So in future also you can track old results back. This entire folder will be having some of the results. Different formats of the test reports automatically TestNG generates. We no need to write a single line of extra code to generate the HTML reports. Only you need to run your test cases using TestNG, that's it. Using @test annotation. Well, this is a receive mail. I'm running it. So one by one we have to run. Instead of running all test cases of the project one by one on the modified version manually, I can have an option, I can group all test cases into a suite. How to create a suite? Right click on your project. Create a new file. testng.xml. Generally, people will call it as testng.xml file. The primary name can be anything. Secondary name must be .xml. You can give a meaningful name. Gmail suite or Gmail test suite, something. Design view of the XML file, source view of XML file. In the source view, we can build the code. Let me build the code for the suite. What I'm trying to do here, the 2 test cases are available for the project, send mail, receive mail. The 2 test cases I want to group into the suite. What is the first tag name here? Suite. End of the suite. For the suite, we can assign a name, any name. Whatever the name you given here, that name will be printed in the results, that's it. It is any logical name, not any logical name. You please observe the previous report. What is the name we are getting for the suite here? Default suite. In place of default suite, whatever the title you give here, that title will be printed. Let's give a meaningful name. Gmail test suite. A suite will have a collection of test cases. Test. For the test also we can assign some name. Send mail test case. Inside the test, classes. Inside the classes, we can give the class location. The technical class name you have created for send mail test case. Generally, you know, in Java project, the other package also may have the same class name. Package 1 have a class ABC. Package 2 also have the same class ABC. If I simply give the class name here, ABC, Java will confuse whether to run the ABC class available in package 1 or package 2. So not just the class name, you have to specify the package name as a pre-qualifier. Package name dot class name. As it is case sensitive, always I recommend go to your class name. On the top, you see the package name. You copy this. As the package name, class names are case sensitive, I always suggest you copy and paste to avoid the mistakes. And here we have the class name. Copy and paste here. Dot, package name dot, class name. So here why I given the dot here? Because at the time of creating the package, I created testng.demos. If no dot here, you don't need to give a dot here. It is a folder name only. One test case I put into my suite. The same way, by following the same syntax, you can have multiple test cases inside a suite. Test name equal to name of the test case. Sorry. Receive mail test case. Inside the test, classes. Inside the classes, class path. Class name equal to, I'll go to my receive mail. Here I have the package name, I'll copy the package name. Dot, class name. So now we have two test cases in the suite. Test case 1, send mail test. Test case 2, receive mail test. We can collapse this to have more detailed information. Remember, all these are case sensitive. As it is, we have to give classes. Done. One suite is created. If I want to run the suite, if the suite file is already in the active, now the suite file is already active. The active window is a suite file. When I click run button, select the testng suite you want to run and click OK button. Alternatively, right click on the suite file, run as, we have an option here, testng suite. All test cases in the suite will run one by one. It's your console output. Here, in app utils class, something is configured with before the suite. Hope you remember this. First before suite executed. When I run the suite, first before suite executed. Launch application. Launch the Gmail application. There are two test cases in the suite. Before running each and every test case in the suite, before test method will run. Login gets executed, Gmail login. Before running the first test case, Gmail login executed. Then test case executed, send mail. First test case in the suite was executed. The first test case in the suite was executed, send mail. This code was executed. Test case 1 executed. Here something is configured with after the test. Test case 1 executed. After executing each test case in the suite, the method configured using after the test annotation will run. Log out. There's one more test case in the suite. So what happens now? Before executing each test case in the suite, before test annotation will run. Once again, before test was executed, login, Gmail login. Now the second test case in the suit was executed, receive mail. After test was executed, log out. All test cases in the suit are executed at the end of the suit executed. Close application. But TestNG giving the results only for the two test methods. We have totally two test methods. Totally two test methods are executed, two test cases are executed, pass. Nothing failed, nothing was skipped. It is a console output which is a temporary output, leave it. Only for your understanding of the sequence, I am showing you the console output. In real time, we never refer the console output, which is a temporary buffer. See the HTML generated report. There are totally two test cases are executed and two are passed. Nothing failed and nothing skipped. Send mail test case, receive mail test case. The two test cases are passed. The total time took for execution 12 milliseconds. Okay, as of now, we are seeing the report here. Maybe tomorrow, how you access this report? Where these reports will be saved? Today, okay, just now I have executed, we are able to see after the console. Tomorrow, I want to track the results back. Where all the reports generated by the testing G will
Excel
be saved?
sheet.
Not Excel sheet. Where is Excel sheet?
In workspace folder.
Yes, sir. In this
Inside your project folder, you just refresh it. You get a folder called test output. Gmail test suite. This is a file. HTML files are nothing but the reports. You can access them from outside of the Eclipse. This is your file location. You can open any browser. Any browser. HTML files can be opened from any browser. Just now it was executed. Or if you want to open from the Eclipse itself, Eclipse has a small web browser utility. Eclipse has its internal utility called web browser. This will be opened from Eclipse itself. Emailable report. Index.html. All these are different formats of the reports generated by the test engine. Whatever the report you wanted, that you can use. It's not properly visible here. You can access from the outside of the Eclipse also. In any browser you can open. Hope you understood the concept of building a suit. Whatever I teach yesterday, the suit again I repeated today. Hope you took the notes about it. I given the notes right yesterday. This code also you have taken.
No, sir. We already take the only recording to the annotations like at the test, before test, after test.
No, definitely you need to have the code of the suit, because for every project we have to finally build a suit. Any framework, after developing independent test cases, finally we need to group all test cases into a suit, so that generally you know the suit in real time. Mostly we create two types of suit: smoke testing suit, regression suit. Whenever I receive the modified version, I can have some test cases that checks all major features are available or not. Just you scan admin link available or not, login available or not, XYZ available or not. Whenever I receive a modified version, when I run this suit, it is checking all the major features are available or not, producing the output, pass or fail. So, okay, smoke testing is pass. Now I have the second suit, regression suit, nothing but just now what I have created. The major or important test cases which I want to frequently run on the modified version, I can group under a name. Okay. Is there any rule that there is only one suit you have to create for a project? I can create one more file, right? I just right click on the TestNG project again, create one more XML file. Maybe only the few test cases I wanted for regression testing, I can create one more suit file. You can have multiple suit files. Regression suit.xml, for example, regression suit.xml. The name I am giving regression suit.xml, nothing but the testng.xml. Let's say out of 100, 40 test cases are very critical. Every time I do want to run, only these 40 test cases I can group into regression suit.xml, so that whenever a modified version given, I can run the regression suit. The test cases belongs to all regression areas may run. We can have multiple suit files for one project according to a requirement. 100 test cases are available. Module 1 test cases I can separate. Module 2 test cases I can build as one suit. Module 3 test case I can build as one suit. For example, Primus Bank admin test suit. Primus Bank underscore banker test suit. Primus Bank underscore customer test suit.xml. 3 suit file. First suit contain only test cases of admin module. Second suit may contain only test case of banker module. Similarly, the last suit will contain only test cases belongs to customer module. In the modified version, I want to run test cases belongs to only admin module. I run the first suit file. I want to run test cases belongs to only customer module. I run the last suit file. Or alternatively, you can all test cases also we can group together. Primus Bank test suit.xml. Test cases of all 3 modules also can be run. Here you can have multiple suit files. So in any real-time application, after developing the independent test cases, finally we have to group all test cases into the suit. So better you take the code about the sample suit what I have created. I think lastly yesterday I have asked you to take the code, not taken? Okay, no issues. Matter of 5 minutes you will take it. A sample test suit. A sample test suit. A sample test suit. You can have this code as it is. Here assumption, we created 2 test cases, send mail test case, receive mail test cases. How to group the test case into the suit? Take this entire code as it is. A sample test suit. Suit. A suit will have multiple test cases. Now you take this. One suit can have multiple test cases. We are implementing test cases in Selenium and Java with the help of some classes. Inside the classes, you have to specify the class path. Name is one of the mostly used parameter, keyword in the TestNG suit. Name equal to suit name equal to test name equal to class path. At suit level we can use, test level we can use, class level we can use the name keyword to specify the name of the suit, to specify the name of the test, to specify the class location, class path. Just take it. Just 2 minutes, you take it. Topic. Parameterizing test cases. Parameterizing test cases through testng.xml file. Parameterizing test cases using testng.xml file. So what is the meaning of parameterization? Generally in programming words, what is parameterization? In programming terminology, parameterization meaning passing input values to the test cases from the external locations, external files. Externally, we pass input data to run the test cases. Passing input values from the testng.xml file to the test cases is called here parameterization. We are allowed to pass test data to the test cases from outside of the test cases. That is called actually parameterization. Make a note of it, I'll explain. Passing input values to test cases. Passing input values to test cases is called passing input values to test cases is called parameterization. Next paragraph. In testng.xml file, in each test case, we can define parameters. With input values and these parameters can be accessed from test cases. These parameters can be accessed from test cases. Let's understand the concept of this parameterization. Say for example, send mail test case. I want to print like this. Mail sent to some email ID. Mail sent to some email ID with some subject line. I repeat, I want to print mail sent to demo.qh@gmail.com with the subject test mail. How many inputs required for this to print like this? Mail sent to some email ID. With the subject, I want to print the subject line. How many inputs are required for printing like this? 2 inputs are required. I'm declaring 2 arguments here. To email, 1 argument. Subject is second argument. To email, mail sent to whatever the to email ID you supply while calling the function, that email ID I want to print. I'm attaching one more thing with the subject line. With the subject, just whatever the subject you pass, that gets printed. Well, when I run the test case, what happened? Earlier from the Java, we are calling a function. While calling the function, whatever the inputs required to run the code, that inputs we pass. If I am calling the function from a main, while calling the sendMail function, I supply two input values, right? Here we are not making any explicit call, TestNG making a call. Then how to supply the parameters? My code requires some input values. Supposing it is login code, this code need username and password to run. If it is launch app, this method requires URL to launch the application. If I'm calling from the main method, the function I'm calling from the main, while calling we supply the input values. Initially we did like that. Let us refer the previous code. Admin login test case with valid data. While calling the login function from the main, while calling the login function present in the login page class, the login function need two arguments. The login function required two arguments. The arguments we are supplying from the test case, like this. While calling, we are supplying the input values. But here in the TestNG, we are not making a call. TestNG at the rate test annotation making a call. So how you supply the data then? If we are calling it, we supply the inputs required to run the code. We are not calling. At the rate test annotation calling. Then how to supply the data? How many inputs required for this test case now? Two inputs are required. I'll go to this XML file. For each test case, you can define parameters. How to define the parameters? The syntax of creating a parameter name equal to name of the parameter name, email. There it is input argument name to email. This is my parameter name. Same name I can use, otherwise you can also use some other name. Value your test data. Something like this. One parameter defined. The same way you can define any number of parameters you require. The parameter, the name equal to parameter name, this time same name I am giving, like input argument name. Why here also I am not giving the same name? If I give the same name, maybe you assume we have to follow the same names. No, any names we can give. Value equal to, for example, test mail something. Some value I am giving. I define two parameters for the sendMail test case. Inside the test, I define parameters, meaning these parameters are accessible only in the sendMail test case. If you define a parameter at suite level, these parameters can be accessible among all test cases in the suite. If I define parameters at test level, these parameters are available only for the sendMail test case. I define the parameters here. Note the syntax. Note down the syntax. Syntax of declaring parameters. Syntax of declaring parameters. syntax of declaring parameters in testng.xml file. In testng.xml file, syntax is parameter. You know, every starting tag should have a corresponding end tag and parameter. For every parameter, we can define a name. Parameter name. Value equal to parameter value. This is the syntax. Like this, n number of parameters you can define for one test case. If you define these parameters inside a test, they are applicable, accessible only for the particular test case. If I follow the same syntax inside the suite, outside of the test cases, that parameter is called suite level parameter. You can access suite level parameters among all test cases in the suite. URL I can define at suite level because all test cases URL value would be the same. Employee first name, employee last name, I will define only inside the employee registration test case. But URL I can define at suite level. In all the test cases, I can access the URL. So make a note after this. Test level parameters. Test level parameters. Test level parameters. If you define a parameter, inside the test case, if you define parameters inside the test case, it is called test level parameter. It is called test level parameter. Continuation. Test level parameters can be accessible. Test level parameters can be accessible only within the test case. Only within that test case. Test level parameters are accessible only within the test case. You can have this code to have more clarity how to define parameters inside a test. This is the syntax. Note down this example. The entire selector portion so that you understand how to define test level parameters. Inside the test, we have to define the parameters. This email, this subject, these two parameters are accessible only in the send mail test case, not in receive mail test case, because they are created inside the test.
The para value is nothing but test data.
Parameters are nothing but input data, test data. That's what the notes I have given. If you want to pass input data to the test cases, we have to define parameters in the testng.xml. We'll see how to access these parameters in the test case. Done. Parameters created inside the test are called test level parameters. These parameters are accessible only in the particular test case. Okay. Now the two parameters, email, subject, I can access only in the send mail test case, nothing else, nowhere else. Look at this one. The two parameters are created inside send mail test case. Only in the send mail test case. Only in the send mail test case, I can access those two parameters. How to access those parameters? I'll do one thing. I'll run the suit now. Before suit executed, before test also executed, while executing the test case, we are getting some error, test ng exception. You tell me why we are getting an error? First test case, there is an error. Second test case was executed and passed. In the second test case, there are no parameters concept. Why we are getting an exception in the send mail test case? Has anybody answered this question? There are two test cases in the suit. One pass, receive mail. One fail, send mail. Why send mail was failed? First one was failed. You define the parameters here, okay, fine. Are you accessing these parameters in the test case? After defining the parameters, we need to access the parameters from the test case using an annotation called @parameters. We access parameters from the testng.xml file. It describes how to pass parameters to the test method. We have to pass parameters to the test method. First, we need to collect the data from the XML file. How? Open and closing parentheses. Inside open and closing flower bracket, the parameters we have to collect from the testng.xml. What are the parameter names I have given in the testng.xml? The first one is email, comma, second one is subject. So what this will do? This will collect the data from the parameter of send mail test case, the email value. What is the email value here? demo@qatek.com. These value will be supplied to the first argument of the called function, to email. The to email will be attached here. It will collect the data from the second parameter subject. The parameter value will be collected for the subject test mail. This will be supplied to the called argument subject. The subject will be printed. Now we are collecting the data from the testng.xml and we are supplying the data to the called function. Now let me run the suit now. The two test cases are executed and passed. We are printing like this: mail sent to the data, first parameter value, with the subject, the data, test mail. We are accessing the input data present in the testng.xml file into the test cases. See the testng generated output. Not only simply pass, the data utilized for executing test case also printed in the results. Send mail test case executed using these input values and working as expected, pass. Parameter values also displayed here. Tomorrow you want to run the send mail test case with some other data, only we change the values here. Finally, the parameters defined inside the test are accessible only in that particular test case. These two parameters I cannot access from receive mail test case because they are testable parameters. Now, if I define the parameters at suit level here, the parameters defined at suit level are called suit level parameters. Same syntax. Name equal to, for example, app URL. Value equal to this app URL parameter I can access in all test cases present in the project because I defined at suit level. In all of the test cases I can access this parameter. Test level parameter scope is only to the test case level. Suit level parameters are accessible among all test cases in the suit. Note on this, suit level parameters. Suit level parameters. The suit level parameters. The parameters defined inside the suit. Parameters defined inside the suit. Parameters defined inside the suit, but outside of the test cases, not inside the test case, but outside of the test cases are called suit level parameters. Are called suit level parameters. Parameters defined inside the suit but outside of the test cases are called suit level parameters. Continuation. Suit level parameters are accessible. Suit level parameters are accessible among all test cases present in the suit. Among all test cases present in the suit. Among all test cases present in the suit. Right. So better you only take this code. The first two lines so that you understand we have to define inside the suit but outside of the test cases. The data required to execute a particular test case, you define inside the test. The data you need in all test cases like URL, we define at suit level. But either suit level parameters or test level parameters, accessing procedure would be the same, using @parameters annotation. Finish? Now, okay, defining parameters, okay, test level or suit level, that is based on our coding requirement. How to access these parameters in the test cases? You defined, okay, without accessing them, the code cannot run. These two parameters I want to access in send mail test case. How? How to access parameters in the test case? Using @parameters annotation. If you are accessing only one parameter, this would be the syntax. If you want to access multiple parameters, comma, the second parameter name. So take the notes. Accessing parameters in test cases. Accessing parameters in test cases. Accessing parameters in test cases. Say for example, this is launch application. It needs URL. Let's say we have the code inside. Say it is login. It needs two inputs, user ID and password. Assume that we have a SUD file like this. Just to explain the concept, I'm going like this. Let's say I have a suit like this. Maybe one test case or more test cases, whatever. For launch application, I need to access a URL. Where is the URL available here? In the suit. I need the URL value to run this code. Here, what is the parameter name here? Here, the input argument to the function. Input argument of the function is URL. But here, your parameter name is app URL. This I want to access here. To execute this test method, I need the URL value. Without supplying the URL, this code cannot run. In my test suite, there is a parameter called app URL at suite level that I want to access here. What is the annotation? Parameters is annotation. A open and closing parentheses. Inside the open and closing pushpa, flower braces. We have to give the parameter name. What is the parameter name? App URL is a parameter name. Not URL, app URL. This parameter we are accessing here. This value will be supplied to the URL. Here we are accessing only one parameter, that to suit level parameter. Either suit level or test level parameter syntax is same to access the parameters. Only one parameter. But the second function need two parameters. User ID and password. What is the parameter names here? Uname, keyword. Sir, here also I can give the same names. If I give same names, UID, PWD, you may assume same names we have to follow. No, it can be XY, this can be AB. What actually it is doing, it is accessing the value, supplying the value, that's it, in a sequential manner. Now, at the rate parameters, a open and closing parentheses, a open and closing flower brackets, the parameter names. If you want to access multiple parameters, parameter name should be separated with a comma. Here I am giving the first parameter name. What is that? Uname. Here I am giving the second parameter name, that is keyword. Now, the first test method will access app URL rnhrm.qtech.com will be supplied to the called function. How many parameters you are accessing from the XML file? One. That one will be supplied to the called function. Now URL will take the value rnhrm.qtech.com. The two parameters you are accessing, parameter values are supplied in a sequential order. Uname parameter value will be supplied to UID. Password parameter value will be supplied to PWD. The code gets executed using the user ID and password. So like this, you can supply the parameters to the test methods. So accessing parameters in the test cases. Make short notes. TestNG provided at the rate parameters annotation to access parameters presenting testng.xml file into test cases. So here I clearly put for your understanding how to access the parameter, how to access one parameter, how to access multiple parameters. Right.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes.
Sir, can we run the test case without using at test at the rate test?
No, we cannot.
Just by adding parameter.
No. If you want to run the test cases in TestNG, at the rate test is mandate. Otherwise, you have to use Java main method. Right. Till this point is clear, right?
Okay, sir.
Now, let me introduce a topic of the assertions. TestNG assertions. Note on the topic. TestNG assertions. All whatever we are learning tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I repeat, in the actual programs. Just we are learning concept. I repeat all the TestNG concept in the RNHRM code back. TestNG assertions. First, try to understand the concept of assertion. What is the need of assertions? To explain that, the assertions, I created one temporary class. Here I am creating a test method. Test 1. This I am configuring using @test annotation. Here just I am printing hello. I am running this code. hello printed, test case is pass. What is pass here? First of all, your code tested anything? Did your code tested anything? Your code only printing something in the console, hello, and saying pass. So without comparing expected and actual, do we analyze or consider the results pass or fail? Testing nothing but comparing expected and actual. In this code, your code performing any test action? This code is comparing any expected value or actual value? No. But we are getting the results as pass. Why? Why we are getting pass? At the rate test annotation will run the method. Just refer the notes I given about at the rate test annotation. Check the notes I given about at the rate test annotation. It executes a method. If the code executed successfully, no errors are occurred, does you produce the results as pass. No errors are occurred, hence we are getting as pass. Maybe a developer point of view, programmer point of view, there are no errors in my code. That is acceptable, pass. Functional testing point of view, without comparing expected and actual, the pass and fail I do not consider. It's a meaningless result. Whatever I am getting now pass, it's a meaningless result in functional testing point of view because nothing tested. Without comparing, nothing testing, but I am getting the results as pass. Okay, look at this one. There is no code I am running this. No code I am running it. It's saying test case is pass. If no errors are occurred, test-ng produce the results as pass. Will you agree with these results as a tester?
No, sir.
No, nothing was tested. Okay, let's see this one now. I'm declaring two variables here. One is expected value. The other one is actual value. Both are of type strings. The expected value equal to some data. The expected value equal to some data. Say, Google is the expected value. But actually the application showing a title like Gmail. Expected title of the window, Google, but actual title of the window is Gmail. I'm running this code. You tell me, you answer me, what is the results I will get now?
Test pass.
Pass? What is the results I will get when I run this code?
Test
Fail,
pass.
sir.
Sir.
Fail, sir.
Code.
Fail?
Code.
Pass only, sir, because of we are not comparing the each and everything. Just we are input the data here.
We provide only the variable declaration. And
So?
we didn't compare.
We are not comparing anything, I agree with you. Finally, what is the results we get?
So we'll get
Expected
pass because
pass.
all three lines the code will run successfully.
All
There's
lines of
error
code
in
will
the-
be executed successfully. While running this code, we don't get any error. Definitely at the rate test annotation will produce the results as pass. Let me run this. We are getting the results as pass because nothing was compared. Will you accept this result? What test-ng at the rate test annotation doing? It is simply running the method. If the code executed successfully without getting any errors, without showing getting any errors, code executed successfully, pass, no errors in the code. Because test-ng JUnit is not made for actually Selenium purpose. JUnit, made for Java unit testing purpose. In developer point of view, I'll go with this. Functional testing purpose, exclusively for doing functional testing purpose. To use TestNG for functional testing point of view, the TestNG given a feature called assertions. We have to implement the assertions. What are the assertions? Assertions will compare expected value and actual value. Assertions will compare expected value and actual value. Then produce the appropriate test output. Actually, JUnit and TestNG made for Java unit testing purpose. If you want to use the same TestNG for functional testing purpose, there is a new feature available in the TestNG called assertions. Assertions are specially introduced in TestNG only for Selenium functional testing point of view. These assertions are used to compare expected and actual. You no need to write any if condition. We no need to print anything in the console. Directly you make use of the ready-made functions called assertions, assert equals, assert true, assert false. They compare given expected value and actual value. If both are satisfied, now TestNG produce the results false. Not satisfied, TestNG produce the results as fail. If fail, in the results it will show you this is expected, but this is actual, hence it is fail. What is the deviation also will be printed in the results automatically. You no need to write any code. TestNG provided a set of assertions exclusively for using TestNG for Selenium functional testing. Assert equals, assert true, assert false. TestNG provided a class called assert. Assert is a class name. In TestNG we have a ready-made class called assert. These assert class provided some static methods. So assert dot method name, assert equals, assert true, and assert false. Somewhere I want to compare expected value and actual value. Assert equals expected amount, actual amount. Expected title, actual title. Expected URL, actual URL. We pass as input argument. Actually, they are ready-made methods. Somewhere expected condition true, expected true, but actual I do not know. If actual also true, the assertion will produce the results false, otherwise fail. Somewhere expected false, but actual I do not know. If actual also false, assert false will produce the results as false, otherwise fail. Together there are three assertions. Assert equals to compare both expected and actual. Assert true, expected true, but actual I do not know. Assert false, expected false, actual I do not know. If really false, pass, otherwise fail. Three assertions are provided in the TestNG to implement functional validations in Selenium test cases. Make a note of it. TestNG assertions. TestNG provided assert class, this one. TestNG provided assert class. These assert class provided, you see here, assert equals, assert true, somewhere we have assert false actually. These TestNG provided, this assert class provided assert equals assert true, assert false assertions. TestNG provided assert class. These assert class provided assert equals, assert true, assert false methods or assertions, which are used to compare which are used to compare the given expected value, which are used to compare the given expected value with actual value, the given expected value with actual value, then produce appropriate test result. Then produce appropriate test result, pass or fail. After comparing expected and actual, these assertions will produce appropriate test result, pass or fail. Right. Tomorrow we'll talk about these assertions. As of now, we learned about annotations. There are a few more annotations I have to introduce you. I'll introduce before method, after method, before the class, and after the class. I'll explain. But in practical project point of view, we don't use them. But in an interview, what are the annotations available? You should be able to explain everything. So I'll explain as a miscellaneous topics. If one TestNG class has multiple test methods, by default, they run in alphabetical order. Using some priority keyword, we can configure. For any reason you want to run a particular test case in the suite, how to skip the test cases from the suite. All these miscellaneous topics we'll discuss. First, let me focus on high priority topics in the TestNG. Tomorrow we'll discuss about the assertions. Then we understand how to implement functional validation in TestNG code with assertions. Then also tomorrow I introduce you the remaining miscellaneous topics. So day after tomorrow, again I go back in the RNHRM previous project code. Totally whatever we learned in the TestNG, all we implement in RNHRM project code. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, online team. We'll continue tomorrow.
Thank you.